Hey everyone, welcome to the Get Your Life Together Girl podcast, the ultimate blueprint to self-love and inner peace. I'm your host, Danielle Van. As a cognitive behavioral therapist, life coach to women, meditation teacher, and author, I've spent my life studying and learning from the stories that make us human. It's my passion and goal to help you shift your mindset and create a lifelong revolution to help you reach your greatest potential. Emotions give us humanity, and although we like to make the mistake of classifying them only into negatives or positives, every emotion is necessary and valuable as they influence every part of our daily lives. We make decisions based on whether we're happy, angry, sad, bored, or frustrated. We choose activities and partners, habits and hobbies based on the emotions that they incite. Understanding our emotions can help us navigate life with greater ease and stability. But what happens when our emotions become trapped and are left unhealed? That's a question I asked Jennifer Bradford, who is an emotion and body code expert, when she and I sat down to deep dive into what emotions actually are, how they rule our lives, and how each of us has the power to shift any emotional experience, no matter how long ago the event took place. The truth is, sometimes time does not heal all wounds. This is a conversation you absolutely do not want to miss. The Get Your Life Together Girl podcast starts right now. Jennifer, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. You do something that I don't know is really internationally known at this point, but it's obviously something that all of the people that listen to the Get Your Life Together Girl podcast, hear quite often as far as how we process our emotions, how they impact us. And I just want you to sort of introduce yourself and then let's jump right in, because I think this is a conversation that needs to be had.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. So my name is Jen Bradford. I'm owner of Higher Love Wellness and Reiki. So I'm an energy healer really at the core, but this energy healing practice has turned into more of helping others with their emotions, helping them understand their emotions better, helping them release them, and also working with their subconscious and, their past to help them move forward into, breaking through into the women that we really want to be. So we're not stuck in these patterns.
Those words. Stuck in our patterns, right? Those are such massive words. I'm sure you hear that every single day. I hear it all the time. I feel stuck. I don't know what to do. So let's start with, how do we do that? You'd practice something called the energy code. I want to know about that, but I also want to know, how did you get to this point that perhaps you yourself felt stuck or needing to, move forward in your own life, and you're using that now in your practice?
Yeah. So this code, so there's two. There's the emotion code and the body code, but I kind of use them together, and I don't really separate the two when I work with clients because they may need to pull from both areas.
Yeah.
But yeah, before I was introduced to these codes, I was the stuck woman. I was, the mom of 3 kids who felt like she couldn't get ahead, felt like she lost her purpose, and there had to be more than just waking up every day and hitting the pillow and that's it. I don't remember much, and there wasn't much joy and play. And so there was a time where I was really struggling. I was reading books. I was trying so hard to journal and figure it all out, but there was something that was missing. I did go to therapy. My mom passed when I was 24. It was really traumatic. It was a long stint with cancer. And then I had my son right after. So there was a lot of feelings of abandonment, a lot of anger. However, in my family, we didn't really talk about how we felt. So I had to stuff it down. And my dad, he cannot handle emotions, right? Even as a child. So it was really difficult to, confide in my own father and tell him, hey, I'm feeling this way, because it almost hurt him even more to know I was hurting. So I would just push it all aside and keep going. And then really, truly, I think with a lot of us, COVID hit. And then I couldn't leave my house. I had no choice but to just sit in it. And then the ugly patterns started to come out, like really ugly patterns that I never wanted to be that kind of mother. And that's when I was like, I can't, I don't know what to do. And then praying a lot, and out of nowhere, of course, one of my friends starts talking to me about how she experienced this emotion code and it helped her with so many things. So I reached out to a practitioner who's now a friend and I started having sessions. And the things we uncovered were so deep that either I just wasn't willing to look at them, or I didn't actually even understand what I was feeling at the time because it was so traumatic. So I didn't understand the feelings around it. So it's helped liberate me from so many traumatic moments and also understand myself better, which has helped me to, help others.
It's very interesting what happens when, if you've listened to the show, you've heard me call it the light of the soul. So many people say it's the dark night of the soul, where we hit that bottom space and we need to do all of this deep work, right? And we're in this level of self-discovery. I personally think that even though we have these hard moments, that when we are guided into that space that is so beautiful and so opening, that we do light up, right? We find our purpose. We find the modality or the therapy or the movement, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
That helps us find our path, which is what you're talking about. It takes a lot of tenacity, a lot of hard work. So what is the body code and emotional code? I mean, obviously, it seems like it helped you. So tell us what it is. What does it do?
Yeah. So this is, I think, the toughest part because, like you said, it's not very well known. And it's definitely a way of connecting to others that they are not familiar with and or are like, I don't even know how this is possible, but it's possible. So basically, during our sessions, I connect to my client through energy. So I'm kind of channeling their energy, do muscle testing, which is also called applied kinesiology. And that's the same exact science that a lie detector test is based on. So it's this innate energy we have within us, which is the subconscious, which knows the actual truth, right?
Right.
So when I'm working with clients and they feel stuck, just like I did, the issue was that I thought I knew what the problems were.
Right.
And so I thought I did. And then I'm like, oh, if I could just lose the weight or if I could just do this, I'll be good. And then when I started testing myself and my subconscious, I realized, oh, that's not the problem. The problem was when I was 8 years old, this happened, right? So we're able to get these very specific answers that are at the actual root cause of what is going on with the client. So if it's emotional, there's this chart we use from it's a book, The Emotion Code. Everyone can read it there, and learn and practice yourself if you can get the muscle testing down. And we identify, what age, when this happened, why. And once we have that breakthrough, it's just like, oh my gosh, yes, I remember. So these emotions just want to be felt. And so when they're suppressed, they get stuck in our bodies and they cause anxiety and so many issues with our organs and glands. So when we're able to finally release it, identify and, say, yes, I felt this way and release it, it opens up all this new space for new energy to come in. So it's a beautiful feeling. And that's why clients get breakthroughs so fast. And in the body code, it's amazing. It goes into every part of your body. Sometimes it'll be like a pinky bone and the client's like, really? And then we get to say, hey, yeah, there's energy that can trap anywhere in your aura and your spirit. So it really opens up the world to the clients. And once they experience it, they are like, oh, I got to tell everybody. I can't believe, how do we not know this?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for, putting this out there because I think it's important for people to understand. It starts on the emotional and energetic level, and then it'll manifest in the physical. So we have to get to that part first.
It makes me think of a question that I often ask my own ladies that come in and they're sitting in session with me and they'll say, this happened and this was the response, because I always talk about getting down to just the facts, right? Let's remove the emotions for just a moment and let's talk about what actually occurred. Not I feel, I think, I know, right? This is what happened. And I will often say, did you react to the moment or did you react to something different?
Yeah.
And so that's what it makes me think of. We all know that everything is energy. We're energy beings. Everything that is existing has energy within it. I have to say, a lot of people would be thinking, though, Okay. How does energy get stuck? Right?
Uh,
I know the answer, but can you explain?
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk us through like we're having a moment, right?
Yes.
Let's say we're talking to somebody and they trigger something in us that, let's say it's like all of a sudden we feel this bitterness come up. And maybe it just doesn't feel good and we don't even know what's going on.
Right.
So, what happens is we continue to talk to this person, we walk away, and we're just like, yeah, that was weird. And then we just continue and ignore and ignore. So, what happens is if we don't listen to what our body is trying to show us, then there's no place for that energy to move. So, an emotion is energy in motion. So, if it doesn't
Mhm.
complete the entire motion and come through you, you realize it and you process it and move out, it has no place to go. So, it will bury itself inside of you until it can come back out. But if you never address it, it just stays trapped and it causes havoc on your energy and the energy centers. So,
You said a word that is a buzzword right now. In fact, in our women's circle this week, we were talking about that, and the word is triggers. And so many people, this is like the hot thing, right? Oh, you triggered me. And everybody's like, well, what is a trigger? What is a trigger? A trigger is nothing more than an emotion or a memory or a moment that you've locked inside.
exactly.
Your brain wants to keep you safe, right? So if you bump into a moment, and I do mean bump into a moment that doesn't feel good, it's going to pull that out. And so you triggered me. No, babe, that's about you. You didn't actually process that moment. And so you've stored it. Can you go a little bit deeper in that? I think that's so important. And hopefully that's an aha moment for someone out there.
Yeah. So triggers. So there's so many things that I've learned too about triggers. You're right. So if somebody triggers you, they're not actually doing anything. They're just
Mhm.
being themselves, but you're having the reaction to what they're saying, right? So if you don't take a moment to say, whoa, that was, interesting. Where could this be coming from? Where have I heard this before? I think the issue is we're so busy. So it'd be really difficult if every moment we have to like stop, make a note to come back to that, later on when you have a moment to sit with yourself. And everyone should be going through their day at the end of the day, what worked,
Right.
what didn't work, what triggered me, what didn't. So most of it is through, I find, inner child, adolescence, a lot of relationships will get triggered by that. So if someone's saying something you don't like, it could just be your 8-year old who parents didn't want to listen to you or didn't find your opinion valid. And so now when you're trying to give an opinion and someone's trying to give you theirs, you're taking it as, oh, I guess like you don't care about my opinion. And so it's kind of trying to figure out where did this come from? The other thing is if we don't deal with these triggers, they will continue to come up for you. And then we have patterns of, relationships where the same things happen. And basically, anytime you've had these emotions, it's just your own soul trying to talk to you. So it's to break the cycle of a pattern that's not healthy for you. And so once we can finally say, hey, I actually feel taken for granted. That's why I don't feel good. So I need to put a boundary up somewhere and respect, myself and my own energy. Then you can start to change. Other people might not like it when you start to find your triggers and change, but you'll outgrow those situations.
So important. Several things that you said. First is I love when women come in and they're like, I just keep picking these people who do the same thing. I don't know what is wrong with them. And I just kind of sit back and I'm like, you're probably right. It's them or not, you know? And so I'm like, it's you. You have